Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here. Today's interview is focused on one family's experience in preparing for attending a wedding, a family wedding. Now, every family's experience will be different because we are all different. So, this discussion is not a step by step plan, but rather it is focused on the thought process that this parent engaged in, the strategy she decided to use based on her own child's individual needs and her whole family's needs, the outcome and next steps in this learning journey we call life. Our hope is that you find this interview both helpful and hopeful. So, in case you haven't met me yet, I'm Heide Emmerich. I'm a speech language pathologist and a certified RDI program consultant and founder of the With Gift. And I am so excited to introduce Lisa. Lisa is an RDI consultant, and we met while we were in training. And we have continued to meet since then as part of different learning journeys. And it was actually during an RDI Book Club when Lisa shared her journey towards attending her niece's wedding that I had this idea to invite her to share with this community during this month, which focuses on accessibility and inclusion. So, Lisa, could you introduce us to yourself and give us an understanding of why attending this wedding was important to you?
Hi, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I hope some of my my journey and process through all of this can help other people. So I'm in British Columbia, and I live with my husband and my two sons. And yeah, so this was going to be a new experience for both children. And we have a very small kind of family unit. And so yeah, this is the only girl in our little unit, the granddaughter. And so yeah, this was going to be really special for our family. And so I really wanted to be able to be present for it. So that was really important to me, because yeah, it was a big event for our family. Um, yeah, so and so it was trying to make it, not just so my sons are Sean and Aaron, and not just for Aaron, support Sean too. Um, so Aaron is autistic, and he also has a communication disorder, sensory processing disorder. So yeah, communication is can be challenging for him, but he loves people. He wants to connect, but sometimes that trying to connect might be coming up and roaring at you, because that's been part of play, right? And so sometimes context could be a challenge for him, right? Or often a greeting might be, "Do you have bare feet?" So, so some of these things, right? Within the people that know him, it's endearing and that, but when you get to a wedding with people, a lot of people that don't understand, right? Don't have experience uh with, neurodivergence and differences, right? You you're trying to kind of support everyone to be comfortable. So it's that line, right? Because I'm a huge advocate for my son, and there was absolutely no question in my mind that he would be attending with us. That wasn't Not attending was really not an option.
Yeah, it's interesting, Lisa. I love that you just mentioned that it was about also thinking about, okay, well, all the different people that will be coming to this wedding, and they won't know your son necessarily. And just like you're thinking like the whole thing. And that must have been quite a challenge and a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, 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 it was a lot for
Yeah.
sure, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to respect, we're in Vancouver, you know, they got married in a very expensive venue. So that, there's, a lot of money on being spent on weddings, right? It was, something, um, really important to them. So, and yeah, I didn't know a lot of the people there, of their friends, and so you didn't know how people, you know react, right? I've been in the grocery store and get the dirty looks or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've had those experiences. So, I'm looking to, preserve the tradition of the day, and that those kind of, the moments of that, and but also, allowing Aaron to be Aaron, right?
Yeah. And
So
that's,
yeah, there was a lot to think about, right? And the bride and groom were nervous, and kind of expressed their concerns, especially at the ceremony part, um about, because you know Aaron can be loud and disruptive sometimes. So yeah, it was a lot to think about. From, I mean, they announced their engagement over a year before they got married. Um, and as soon as she told us, I was like, okay, I want an extra seat. So I didn't know how I was going to do it because at that time I didn't have a regular support person for Aaron, but I was like, yeah, it would be really great to have someone there, so I wouldn't, my husband and I could also enjoy it, because it was important for us, right? And so we wouldn't have to be on that hyper vigilance, because he kind of needs, an attendant most of the time.
yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Like, it's awesome that you also thought about your own needs and desires, right? Not just, okay, how do I include him and just everything about your son, but also that you took yourself into account because this wedding was important for you too, to enjoy and be present. And that's often hard for us as parents because we always think that our first step is to um, support our kids, right? And then we forget
Yes,
about ourselves.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, for most of my day, that's, most of my life, that's what it is about. But yeah, I knew this was going to be a big event that was not going to be, coming around again. And yeah, so it was really important
Yeah.
to me. And um but like I said, I didn't have a regular support person, and I needed to find the right fit,
Mhm.
right? I wasn't willing to, had to be someone that was good with Aaron, that he liked, was comfortable with. And so yeah, that was hard. I had a couple people, and then it fell through, and so it really wasn't until, and then I got recommended this one young lady, and yeah, we were sick all winter, and weren't able to work with her, and so it really didn't come together until the last month. She started working with him, and yeah, they were just a great fit, and she was available on that day. There had to be availability. So yeah, that was just a great blessing that it all it all came together. And yeah, and she was wonderful. Yeah, just amazing. So that definitely made a huge difference, to be able to, for my husband and I, just to be able to relax and know someone's got him. We were right there. It, it's not like, she was concerned, well, I haven't worked with him for that long. What if he just wants to be with you guys? And I'm like, we're here. We're like, he's our child. We're gonna support him as well. But if we just don't have to have eyes on him the entire time, right, that is a huge help. And yeah, and it was. And she was able to take him to quieter parts when things got a little bit too overwhelming.
So let's think back now to how did you, like, you knew that you needed to support him in even the things about understanding, like the wedding, but how did you first find out all the details that you needed prior to the wedding so that you could start supporting uh his growth towards being part of that wedding?
Yeah, that was interesting to think about, right? How do I make it meaningful for him? Wedding is kind of a marriage abstract concept, and these two people have been together for a decade already in his life. So he doesn't has yeah, for all intents and purposes, they were, you know pretty much married. So yeah, it was um yeah, how do I get this idea for him? So yeah, it was I worked with his speech therapist, his OT. So we had a lot of conversations. And then it was also like kind of the timing, right? How far in advance to start talking to, like, so I mean, it was probably a couple months when I really started to focus on it. But I had also thrown the bridal shower and did a lot of, he saw me doing, I did a lot of work on that, making things and putting that together. So we talked about it a bit then. And then I was like, okay, how do I bring this concept, to life kind of for him? And um so I started thinking about, so I started, Googling YouTube. And are there ceremonies? And we sat and watched the ceremony, and I couldn't believe it. He like actually sat and watched it with me, right? We talked about, so then I spotlighted, oh, look, everyone's sitting down, right? And they're being quiet, right? I spotlighted the clothes, because that's very different. We don't get dressed up like that a lot in our life. So this, he was going to have new clothes and everything. Um, and we started labeling, bride and groom, and kind of, coming together to create a family unit, and then I compared to, his dad and I, or his grandmother and his grandfather, right? And then I also have wedding pictures from my wedding. So then I took him to the pictures and taught, see, that's when I was the bride and dad was the groom. And so we talked about those things. And uh you know and then we just kind of labeled, you know and kind of rehearsed that Dylan's going to be the groom and Kayla's going to be the bride. And
Never thought about that really, but yeah, you would have to help them understand the vocabulary around it and the
yeah,
special words that we use in this
yeah,
situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very yeah, we hadn't had a wedding before, like I said, in our family or anything. So I hadn't had really an exposure to it. You know, I think probably the closest for him might have been, from the Mario movie, and there was, the bride, Princess Peach, and Bowser and Mario. Like, so yeah, we talked a bit about, used that, things that he could relate to a little bit, but yeah. And then the bride had, she invited the women in the family to go to a dress fitting with her. So I did have a picture of her in her dress, which I showed to Aaron as well. So that, I think that kind of helped, you know all these little things. You're never quite sure, like, is this connecting, but I think he did, because by the end, when we were getting really close to it, he was excited. Like, once I told him the date, and he loves dates, he talked about that date, and he was excited. And yeah, I was really surprised when I took them to get clothes. He participated in it easily, and we tried it all on. I was worried because he wore a bow tie, and uh yeah, maybe I'll share my screen so you could have a little you'll have a picture of
Yes, please.
what he because he looked so handsome and cute. There he is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does
And
look.
so, and this is later in the evening. So he has his hat on. Now Aaron always wears a hat. And so uh we had it with us, and if we needed it, it's use it. But in the morning I did do his hair, and I said, okay, so you're not going to wear your hat until late after pictures. And he was fine with it, long as we had it with us. I was surprised because he never goes without that hat. So
That is awesome.
um, yeah, he did really well
That is so neat.
in
It
that.
sounds like every step, even like you weren't sure what your expectations should be, but you raised them a little bit and he rose to that level. But you did such a beautiful job of always conversing and uh, including him in some things. You mentioned that you actually had a pre visit.
Yes, we took a little field trip about, I don't know, a week or maybe a little bit more, 2 weeks beforehand. So we actually went down to the venue and took a look around, and it was at a restaurant, so we were actually able to go into the restaurant. And I had previously already talked to their event coordinator, and so she came down and met us and just showed us where everything was going to be. So, and then we got to look at what was around it, right? Because if definitely being outside, having the ability to go for a walk, or things like that would be helpful to have that. So yeah, I think that helped really. My elder son said that really helped him as well. So it kind of took this mystery out of it, and
Nice.
um yeah, able to just picture it. I had shown them pictures, because there's 360 pictures on the internet as well of the restaurant. So we had looked at that, and um so yeah, like Dr. Goodstein always advocates about, it's that experiential learning, right? So just, I think, peppering here and there, planting those seeds, and having it an experience. But and then one thing that I think was really helpful as well was I always think of how do I give him a role,
Ah, yes.
right? Because roles really support his feeling of competency, right? He gets a sense of pride when he's able to contribute, right? So I was like, so what could I do for, because there was times where we had to wait, right? At a wedding, sometimes there's those
It's
times
lots
you
of
have to
times.
fill, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so he helped with the favors. So we did the favors for the wedding. So then they helped put them together at home, right? And then yeah, I'll share another little photo of us. And
That's
then
brilliant, Lisa. Having
we
him
went so then we went and we had them set up, and so then he put the favors at each place setting.
Oh my gosh, that made it even more special. You guys made them together, and then he knew what was gonna happen with them because he actually put them down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's definitely something I would suggest is how could you find little roles,
Yeah.
right? Competent roles, right? So this is was definitely, and I'm here right with him. I'm passing it to him, right? So I RDI'd that wedding.
It's beautiful, beautiful example of co-regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is really, known to be helpful, right? Even, small things when we have family get together, you know, we'll be, maybe we'll have dessert or something and he'll take take it out and serve it to people. And I could see, so I had that experience that really supported that feeling of competency and pride. And so I was like, okay, how can I add that into this and and fill some of those waiting times, right? So yeah, that worked out really great.
Did you have any other examples of that, of roles? I mean, that's a major one, but
Yeah, that was probably the biggest one. um but he um from that it was, okay, how do we um bring in supports for
Mhm.
him that
Okay.
things that he likes, right?
Yes. Yeah, so what did you
And
do?
so then so the biggest thing that we kind of found is uh music. So recently
Mhm.
he's really gotten into Spotify and picking his own music and listening to music. It's really been a thing. So uh we made sure he had his music. So I'll share this picture. So this is kind of how he looked most of the time. Yeah, and and we had snacks for him, and you see his backpack, so it was full of he loves to draw and color. So there was lots of um those kinds of things in there. My van was packed to the rafters with the what ifs, the just in cases, right? I thought about sensory things. So I had Play-Doh and um so I had little things for him. So we actually wrapped them up like gifts so that we could give them kind of through uh the evening, and make it more fun for him and a little bit more special,
Mhm.
right? And give them those positive memories and positive feelings, right? That's what it's it's all about. So we had that, and my OT was brilliant. The van is a safe place for him.
Mhm.
So one thing I had done was I had talked to the restaurant before. I had told them, like, can we get a reserved parking spot for our van? And they were, yeah, accommodating to that. We had no problem. So, my older son and I cleaned it all out, and got it all set up. So if he needed to, that could also be a quiet, safe place, comfortable place for him. Um, so that was,
You had it filled with lots of pillows?
I had pillows, blankets, and, special snacks.
Awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, didn't actually end up using any of it. But yeah, I had outdoor toys, ball and frisbees, things like that to play around with if he needed. And just thinking about, okay, how do we meet his needs, right?
Yep.
And um yeah, I went through a lot of the what ifs,
Yeah.
right? A lot of for a long time. um and that's, which I want to tell parents that, we think about all the options, right? All the scenarios, and realize that, that takes emotional energy too. Because when you're thinking through that, you're having the emotions, you're thinking, because, part of that was I needed to prepare myself of what if I didn't find someone that could come and help support him, right? So, one of us probably would have had to um possibly miss the ceremony part at least, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, that was, so you go through the little, almost like a grieving process of, right,
Yeah.
my needs have to come second.
Yeah. You do everything you can so that you can support being there, but needed to um, realize that there is that what if I might not be able to be part of this. And I hear you saying that you needed to go through that emotional process and be okay with, come to a point of being okay with that. But doing that ahead of time was really helpful to you because in the moment, it's really hard, right? But if you already knew if that happens, I'm going to be okay. How did that?
Yeah, yeah, I had to come to peace with that, right? This is,
Yeah,
you know um for the comfort of the bride and groom, for his comfort and needs, right?
yeah,
um so yeah, so it was emotional to think about those possibilities,
yeah.
right?
But
And
you
how we
found it
were going to
helpful,
do that.
as emotional
Oh, yeah, yeah,
as
yes, because like you said, you don't want it to all be in the moment, when emotions are high. You've already kind of processed that a little bit, come to peace with that, and then because you need to be there as the guide for your child to be supporting their regulation and calm, right? And
yeah,
that's the job of us guides, and it can be a hard job.
yeah, yeah, it's true. So you kind of have to come to a point of realizing now I have to also just allow whatever transpires, and I don't have full control to make it go my way. I just have to kind of allow things to happen and move through it, is kind of what I'm hearing you say. that you kind of come to terms with that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, on
Yeah.
every kind of aspect. Um, like I said, it was a journey. They had a wedding coordinator. I had reached out to her, and we had talked about, okay, I had the schedule of the wedding, so I kind of knew where people were going to be, because there was 2 rooms. So then I knew I could move, he could move to this other room while they were it was louder in this other room. So um yeah, initially there was kind of an alcove, and they were going to have that set up as a quiet space for him. And then I got the seating plan, and no, the bride and groom's table was right in front of that, so it wasn't going to be that discreet. So I had to pivot and go, okay, that's and but yeah, so definitely having the schedule was really helpful as well for me and for the support worker,
Mhm. Even down
right?
to the seating plan and seating arrangement, right? Like, it
Yeah,
seems to me like you managed to know as much as you could ahead of time for yourself and kind of for your own sake too, right? And then
yeah,
you involved Aaron in learning as much as possible beforehand too, so
yes,
that
yeah,
everybody has some sort of base knowledge and it wasn't that everybody was just kind of thrown into this. It's like
no,
it was
yeah. And like
important
I
to
said, and
prepare.
then
Yeah.
yeah, um we had looked at all the pictures on the internet. We actually went to the venue and walked around and talked about that. So, all those things you think may, like, how significant are they? But I think they really add up, right?
Yeah.
All of it just comes to a comfort,
Yeah.
just building familiarity,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
familiarity goes a long way in supporting that nervous system not to be triggered,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
For all people involved, right?
For all, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
It
be able
probably,
to picture it in your mind's eye, right? Like that. It was helpful for me.
yeah. Yeah. And I bet you it was even helpful for like the wedding coordinator to know, right? To know that about Aaron and about just what you were doing. And even the restaurant people to just gain an awareness that you're asking for support in this for good reason, right? Helping them to gain
Right.
understanding. And I bet you even the bride and groom had needed some sort of support in their understanding of their expectations. You needed to understand their expectations and they needed to understand where you were coming from and about Aaron even more, even though he was even part of has been part of the family. They know him, but maybe not truly underneath the way you do. And so did you also help to prepare them?
Yes, we had many conversations. And so I was really appreciative that, they let me know that they were nervous,
Yeah.
especially for the ceremony
Yeah.
part, right? They didn't really like the thought of being that, all eyes on them, center of attention, right? They wrote their own vows. So that was very personal, very emotional. So uh, uh yeah, so we were and Aaron absolutely loves the groom. Like, so it's usually a big hello when he sees him, right? It's so that was we also did pictures beforehand.
Okay.
So there had already also been, he had seen him, they'd had hugs, they did their ritual kind of greeting. So that had already happened. He'd seen him in his suit,
Yes.
which was different. So I definitely think that helped as well.
Oh
right?
my gosh,
Seeing it
yes.
beforehand.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
yeah, I mean, I even, went so far as I had a family meeting. We met on Zoom
Yeah,
and tried to, um, explain because, we get together and we talk about things, but we hadn't really met for a long time and really uh talked about specifically, without Aaron present, his challenges so that they could get a deeper understanding, right, of some of this. And so yeah, it was a journey for them. They brought it up to their commissioner about, he could yell something out, he could, right, these things. Um and so they came to kind of, she was very supportive and said, was like, no big deal. This is part of your family, you know, weddings aren't perfect. And I think that really helped them
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So yeah, it took a village, right? Like their wedding coordinator was fantastic and really helped. And then um sorry, I'll get a little bit emotional because yesterday my niece told me that, so everything worked out beautifully
I was gonna
at
ask
the
about
cer-
the outcome.
at the ceremony.
Yeah.
And so so Aaron's support worker was sitting beside him, and kind of at the back. They were at the very back. And so she reminded, okay, you have to be quiet. You can so she told me as she came down the aisle, because I actually got to sit in the front with my
Wow.
husband. I know. And so as she was coming down the aisle past him, he whispered, "Hi." And then she said that was a really special memory for her.
Aw,
So that was, yeah. And then he did the same for the groom. So yeah, it ended up being great. And so he got to see that part of it. And then yeah, it worked out. It was out on the patio. And then so there was a lot of just talking after that. So he went inside, but where they were sitting inside the restaurant, they could oversee the whole patio. So he got to see that. And yeah, so I think it worked out. That worked out really, really well. Yeah, he just seemed very comfortable.
right.
And I think, and like I said, he did have the headphones on the music a lot.
Mhm.
So I really think, that was him supporting himself. He could pick whatever music he wanted, songs he wanted, and
But he was
and
still present, like, he was there.
oh
He
yeah, he was with his people.
Yeah,
He was absolutely, he was present.
yeah.
And yeah, he was with us. And yeah, I mean, I thought he'd be asking to go home an hour um after. Usually he's done things within an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't until way later in the evening he started to kind of mention it. But um yeah, he but then yeah, I got him. They started uh so probably the biggest pieces where he kind of, you know, didn't stay for was like the whole of the ceremony,
Yeah.
which was even a little long for me, along with it. And then yeah, there was a lot of readings, right? So that wasn't, so it was like, okay, what's going to be meaningful to him, right?
Yeah.
um and that I had to challenge myself, right? what's meaningful to me is not necessarily meaningful to him,
Yeah. Good point.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to kind of think about that too, right? Where did I think it was going to be most meaningful for him? But always trying to provide the opportunities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't sound like there
Provide
was
it, but have
any.
a backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Provide the opportunity with a backup plan in
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
So it sounds like he participated in lots of things in his own way, but he was part of it. And that's lovely. Or he was
yeah.
part of it. And I love how you said it couldn't have gone any better. In fact, everybody enjoyed themselves at the wedding, even you and your husband.
Oh
Like,
yeah, we were able to. Wow, I think that's like one of the first times we were able to really relax and yeah, had a really fun time. So yeah,
well,
so there's that little bit of the ceremony and then the speeches and the reception.
yeah.
Then him and his support worker just went to the next room and he did some coloring and things. But
But he danced with
other than
you.
that, yep.
He got up and danced
And
with
and
you.
then and then yes, and then the yeah, we so I had they were setting up their own music,
Mhm.
just on from a playlist. So I sent some songs that he would know. And yeah, so I I asked him to come up on the dance floor, and so there he is with his he loves cars. He's got his car in hand and his hat on, and he was jumping around. And right at that point, he could be loud. And yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, he had a really great time. So yeah, that was good.
That is
So
awesome.
yeah,
So
so
you
the
know that he had a really great time. He actually told you.
yeah, so the next morning, um, I came, I woke up, and the first thing he said to me in the morning was he had fun at the wedding, and could we do it again? So that was, I mean, that was just, the icing on the cake, right? And my OT had said, okay, low demand the next day, right? There could be fallout from stress, right? Of him holding it together. And there just wasn't. There just wasn't. So that really, signified to me that it's not like he was like white knuckling it, right? Like trying to hold it together. Um and yeah. So yeah, it was so I mean that meant so much for him to, to verbalize that he had he had a great time.
That is
And
so,
yeah, we stayed right to the end.
what?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, he was good. Like, yeah, right to the last song.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that precious?
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really yeah, it was really amazing. So, uh yeah, it's about that attunement, right? You know, all the preparation, but then in the moment it has to be about that attunement and being you do all your plans, but then you got to be flexible and be willing to throw them all out too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Attunement as
um
in attuning to him and his needs.
yes,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
he was doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And having um that his support worker, she is so great, really calm
Yeah.
person, right?
Yeah.
Who really had that. air about her of, I've got this, I've got you, I'm, I'm going to be flexible. We can do what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
And so that was really helpful, and that he was still with us,
Yeah.
right? All of us, included in everything.
Yeah.
um and yeah, and definitely those, big supports, the music, you know like I said, he really likes to draw in color, so I had pens and paper and everything, so
He
he
has
made
a good.
that. And oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, you were talking about roles.
Mhm.
He did have one other where he, for birthdays, any kind of events, he makes cards.
Okay. Yes.
And um uh so that's something he also did ahead of time, is he made cards for the bride and groom. And so then we took a little moment, and so when he first saw them, he gave the cards to them. And so that, that was a way to support that greeting,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
To be positive,
Yeah. I love.
and for him to have something, right? Here, I did this for you. And um and it was a way of learning, because it's usually happy birthday, right? Now it was, congratulations on your wedding. And
Yeah.
so all those things.
So cool.
Right. So he, yeah, so he made there, that
Wow.
was groom Mario and bride Princess Peach.
And these were the cards that he made? That's awesome.
And those are the cards that he made, and gave to them at the at the beginning. So that
That's
was another way of thinking, okay, so how do I support him
yeah.
in, the initial greeting. And
So Lisa, I have a question for you. Now that like the wedding is over and it went really well, how what's next? Like how do you plan to use that experience to support and extend his learning? Is there anything like ex- I don't know. I suppose with the photos and things like that, you can support recall and talking about it and help. So a little bit of that, but do you have any other thoughts or plans on how you want to extend that experience?
well, I mean, one way is for myself. Like, it seemed like such a big, overwhelming event.
Yeah.
And how was I going to prepare him for it
Yeah.
so that it was going to be successful for everyone,
Mhm.
right? Trying to juggle everyone's needs.
Yeah.
Um, right. So, first off, yeah, it takes some preparation, right? And it took some creativity. Oh, okay, you've got a wedding coordinator. Well, what if I just reach out to them and just let her know kind of what the situation is, what I might need, right? Or what he might need.
Yeah.
Or, um, find out about the venue. Are there places that are quieter, that if we need to go? Um, and yeah, just slowly, like, bringing the vocabulary in, you know, finding pictures, finding YouTube videos, right? As you go along, these resources, and that um, they do help,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And just these small things that you just keep bringing in. And so, and starting in advance, right? And bringing it in slowly. So it is, that experience. and like they said, the roles, trying to think about roles. How do I integrate him in a meaningful, competent way
Yeah.
so that, he feels part of it in things that are meaningful for him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And find those, having that special moment of giving his cards to the bride and groom, right? Or doing the favors
Yeah.
and those things. So um yeah,
So-
definitely I'll take that forward. Um and 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 for him as well, right? That he went there, um he was able to read the situation and whisper hello to the bride and groom, right? And um you know and be in that situation, but still have his hat if he needs it, have his headphones and his music on if he needs it, have his coloring if he needs it, right? Like he doesn't have to conform to standing beside us and being quiet as we mingle.
Yeah.
Right, his needs can be supported and integrated as well, so he's comfortable.
And so this
um
experience is pretty cool because you can go back to that and do like that remember when strategy. Remember when? So
oh
that
yeah,
when in
reflective,
new
yeah.
situations you find yourself that he can pull on to those past wonderful experience and see that he can it's similar to this and he can do it again and have a really fun experience again. Such a beautiful thing. And I mean, weddings are awesome because you have lots of photos that you can't, like normally at weddings, photos are
Yeah.
taken. So you can use actual visuals to help extend that learning and recall all the positive stuff. And oh, remember we're going back into a church. Remember how we had to sit so quietly for a little while? All of those things can come back. Like it just feels like this one experience has so many awesome learnings, not just for you, but for him, for the whole family. Like it's so cool, right? That rather than saying, oh no, it's not going to work. He can't be involved. You actually took it on and created us this beautiful learning experience and opportunity out of something that would otherwise for many people be stressful. Right?
Right.
And you took
Yeah.
it you just I just am so pleased of that you shared this. Like, I just thank you. It is so wonderful. A quote that I wrote down that you said just really hit home to me when you're explaining, but you said this, "To everyone else, it's just a wedding, but to us, it's a milestone." And I just
Yes, for
thought,
sure.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
said, right?
Yeah. For being his guide, and for him, yeah, it was very successful.
Yeah,
But it's also, um I mean, Aaron surprises me all the time.
yeah,
I think, no, this is not going to go well. And then, like you said, you give those opportunities,
yeah,
but you have but you stay attuned, and you have that you've got to meet them where they're at in the moment,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I know we had a listener that was talking about they're going to a wedding, right?
yeah,
And nervous about the flower girl, being a flower girl, right?
yeah.
So it's, how do we how do you look at that and go, okay, I have an image of what a flower girl, you know, is or should be, right? And how can we um go, well, what's going to support her but still provide that opportunity, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, maybe someone walks down with her, she's still the flower girl, but maybe she needs that co-regulation with that adult, right? Enough to support her. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be, we can, our images can be flexible.
Yeah. Yeah. It provides opportunity for everybody around to
Yeah,
also be flexible.
right. Yeah. And get the basket and start practicing and create a little wedding aisle in your house. And I'm yeah, really into starting early, and making them, the situations, as familiar as possible. I think really helps, right? But not pushing. Like I said, give yourself lots of time,
Yeah.
so that they're just little bits here and there, and it's still positive experiences,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, this really sets both of us up, well, all of us, our whole family, of, okay, we can take on the next challenge. So one of our dreams is to go to Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
Which seems like, going on the airplane. He hasn't gone on an airplane yet, right? All those things seem really overwhelming. And it's like, well, no, one step at a time. And yeah, really just build that familiarity slowly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's a really good point. One step at a time, right? And building familiarity with the vocabulary and what it's all about, and practicing and pretend playing, and all these wonderful things, all these wonderful ways to build that familiarity. Oh, Lisa, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing. I'm not sure if there are any questions out there, but if there are, this is a great time to put up your hand and let us know if there are questions. Or I'm not sure, Alicia, are there questions that you have or have heard people have? So please hop in and
I have questions. If Gisette has any questions, um, she can go first if she wants. But I definitely have questions.
You can go ahead. I'm still driving.
Okay, okay. Okay, how old is Aaron?
He's 13.
13. And Aaron
Yeah.
has a lot of similarities in interests to my 11-year-old. So I was really interested. I was like, oh yes, these are definitely the things I'm gonna put in my toolbox. I love that you use the word endearing. Um, roles. So I love that you use the role to help with waiting. So you use that role to specifically help with the waiting. I guess these are comments. Um, do you have any other ways of using roles to help with waiting, or anything that you are taking that? Because if waiting is a general challenge, is there any other ways that you use roles to help with waiting now?
um well, I mean, depending on the waiting, but definitely that's a place where he's going to need more co-regulation if he has to wait a long time. Um, but if there's something small that you can do, and bring some movement into it, but purposeful movement. That's, my OT has always taught me this about functional, right? So not just running around, but find something that starts with the letter A, find something that's blue, right? So you're bringing in just that little, so you've got that thinking brain engaged in the movement with you. So I'm not sure if that answers your question,
It does
but
help. Yeah.
that can definitely be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like an aha moment in my brain. I was like, oh, this is something we need to do.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and it might be a time where I'm giving him a little bit of extra sensory input, might squeeze the shoulders, right? Might be spotlighting, me taking some deep breaths, um, right? Acknowledging it's hard to wait. but yeah, that was going to be an extended period of time. So I thought, yeah, if I could come up with something that would be,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's great. I love that. That he had a role while waiting, so it kind of reduced the wait time for him, really, because he was already doing
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah, it did. And like I said, and it gave him a way to contribute,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Definitely a way to make it even more special for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had a fun time the night before. We had a little assembly line, putting on, because it was, filled with candies, right? So, there was candy for the favors, one for
Yep. Yep. That's what would happen in my house too. 3 for me, 1 for you.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's very special too, I am sure, for him having been part of the making of them, right? Making
Oh
of
yeah,
them
for
and
sure. Yeah. With
seeing,
his brother, it was, yeah.
right? But then
Yeah.
also
And
seeing
then,
the use.
yeah.
Oh, everybody gets one, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
could
And it
talk
was,
about it, but he saw it carried through right to the very end. It's cool. Hmm.
yep. And then he got to eat his. So,
Even better.
yeah. And they looked really cute on the table. So yeah, it was really nice. And yeah. And I've already made, a photo book of our photos. So he's got that to look through, and there's little pictures of him, doing the favors. And, yeah, it was, so he's got that to reflect on too.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Awesome.
And the prep that you did with everybody, all the different pieces that were around all the different people. Um I know when I do that, I find it lowers my anxiety and allows me to be more present in the moment because I already know everybody already knows what's going on. So it helps me. I don't know if that helped you too, like personally.
Yeah, it does. I'm always, it's a line too, right? How much do I spotlight Aaron's challenges or differences to people? Because I also want him to be a 13-year-old boy who is just a guest and a family and a absolutely welcomed family member, right? But at the same time, I understand the realities that if I do want it to be successful, that I'm going to have to be flexible and, informing those people like the wedding coordinator,
Yeah.
right? Because if something did kind of unexpectedly goes sideways, that's going to be, an advocate, a resource, someone that can help me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was key people. I was like, okay, if this kind of goes south a little bit, right? You want to have those people that are going to, be on your side and be helpful, and and someone like that who is a planner,
Yeah.
right? It's better not to spring it on them, right? They're going, because she came and she would check in on us and check in on him. Did he need anything? Right? Like at dinner, like she was ready. She said, yeah, if it's too loud for him, we can just move him into the other room and they can have there. So yeah, definitely someone like that. But I'm always mindful that I want, you know Aaron's a person first,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want it to be all about his challenges, but at the same time, yeah, making it accessible
Yeah.
for him by being flexible, right? i mean I even had even had conversations with my speech therapist. Okay, so if someone says something, so if Aaron does something, like I said, he'll roar at people, he'll
Yeah.
do that high pitched whistle scream, right? I've got the looks in the grocery store. So I'm like, okay, if something happens and someone comes up and says something to me, what's going to be my, because I know myself, right? And you're in the moment and it's, your emotions are high, and I'm a mama bear. Like there just is nothing. So yeah, I had to prepare myself for that. What was going to be my comeback, and I had to go, yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And and it was just about how do I make it as good, as positive an experience, as fun. You know, it was just about fun for him. How do we make it fun? And it didn't have to be about learning or anything else like that. He could have as much iPad, as much whatever as he wanted, right? Whatever was going to make him comfortable. And yeah, it I mean, yeah, the wedding coordinator was like, I think she thought I was crazy afterwards. She was like, yeah, he did fantastic. Like, there's no problem at all. It was fine. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But I have experience. It could have gone a different way. But yeah, I mean, we lucked out. It was I can't say anything other than magical. It was just a magical evening. But not all of them have been like that. Right? Things that I thought were like right up his alley, or I had no thought of things going sideways, have gone sideways sometimes, right? You don't know if that, and he doesn't know. And he doesn't know, right? When that nervous system gets triggered, right? It's unconscious,
Mhm.
right? And we both just have to be ready to be flexible and respond to it.
Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you again. I see that we are already after 2:00. And
Wow.
I thought, oh no, it won't be that long, but yes, here it is. Alicia, any last minute things that you wanted to add or ask?
I just want to say thank you for sharing. This is absolutely perfect for this month's theme. I feel like you had my checklist in front. Like I'm going through and I'm like, she must have had my checklist in her brain. So that's all my questions and comments for now.
Lisa, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Haida, and yeah, for having this idea. And yeah, I just hope it was helpful for others. Yeah. Yeah, it was a very helpful journey for me. Great process, and helps me take those steps forward.
We have a message here that says, thank you so much. 1,000% helpful.
Awesome.
There you go.
That makes my day.
Thank you. Thank you. You've made mine and ours for being here. So that was awesome. And thank you everybody for coming. If you have any questions or anything you want to post, you can post it under this video, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. So thanks everyone.